today we're plunging into a really interesting stack of sources.
Yeah, it's a collection of everyday English conversations, some travel experiences too. Pretty unique stuff.
Exactly. And our mission really is to pull out the most important bits of knowledge, those language insights, and maybe some surprising cultural details just for you.
We're aiming for that shortcut, right? To help you feel genuinely well informed about how English works in, real life.
Yeah, finding those aha moments so you feel confident, ready to handle similar situations yourself.
Because it's not just about what people say, but understanding the why behind it, the cultural context.
Totally. And we found some unexpected things like expert, that restroom key, attached to a wooden spoon.
Oh, yeah. Those, something else. Quirky is the word.
Right. And then there's that pizza place in New York, the one with the line around the block.
Joe's Pizza. We'll definitely get into that. It's legendary for a reason.
Okay, let's do it. #TAG navigating everyday errands and services. So first up, navigating those daily errands. Stuff we all have to do. Like imagine walking into a cafe.
Mm-hmm.
The first exchange, it's usually pretty standard, polite. Something like, excuse me, hi, bonjour, how can I help you?
Simple enough, yeah. But then came that detail about the restroom key.
The wooden spoon. Okay, explain that. What was the deal?
Well, my first thought was like, is this some weird local custom? But no, the reason was just practical.
Practical?
Yeah, the person said, people don't accidentally walk out with it when it's attached to something big.
Huh. That's actually brilliant.
Isn't it? It's funny,
yeah,
but really smart. Just, a low-tech solution to stop keys going missing. Classic problem solving.
I love it. Okay, so you're in the cafe, you've dealt with the key situation, then comes the upsell, right?
Of course. Would you like to order something else? Maybe a pastry or a fresh juice?
And our source mentioned a lemon tart being the most popular.
Exactly. Which shows how these small interactions also guide choices, give you those little nudges.
Okay, so from coffee and possibly lemon tart, let's talk shopping. Clothes shopping.
Right. Our sources had some good examples here, asking for sizes. Do you have this in another size?
Standard stuff.
Hmm.
But what about clarifying who you're talking to?
Oh, yeah, there's that bit. Sorry, I meant the store assistant, which is like a really useful, polite way to handle that awkward moment.
Yeah, it happens all the time. Good phrase to have. And then the happy ending, finding the medium in the back.
The shopper's quest fulfilled.
But what about the persuasion side? Our sources mention things like that color looks great on you.
Yes. The subtle art of retail encouragement. It's not just a compliment, is it? It's playing on that desire for, validation.
And the classic, treat yourself, you haven't done shopping in forever.
That's practically a cultural password, isn't it? Permission to splurge a bit. Understanding that intent behind the words is key.
Definitely. Which kind of leads into souvenir shopping. Is it a never-ending obsession or just collecting memories?
Depends who you ask. But if you are souvenir hunting, say, in Hollywood, the sources had ideas.
Like what?
Oh, Walk of Fame keychain, Best Actress mug, maybe those tiny Oscars.
Count.
And what's interesting is how buying these little things can spark banter. Like teasing about earning titles.
Oh, yeah.
World's best friend, best travel buddy, best navigator.
Although that last one got a comeback, didn't it?
It did. Worst GPS, after apparently taking a minor detour, shows how we use this lighthearted teasing in English to bond.
Okay, shifting gears slightly, checking opening hours. Seems simple, but it can trip you up.
Oh, absolutely. Especially weekends versus weekdays. Our source found the campus gym had different hours, right?
Yeah, it switched to 10 a.m. and closes at 6 p.m. on Sundays. Big difference from weekdays.
And even that place advertises 24-hour, the grocery store.
Also changed on Sunday, closed at 8 p.m.
See, knowing these details lets you plan properly. You can confidently say, okay, I'll go after lunch then, or I'll grab stuff after the gym. No nasty surprises.
Crucial planning info. What about tracking orders? Customer service calls?
Those tend to follow a pattern. It's what we call a transactional conversation. Pretty predictable.
How so?
Well, you usually state your reason for calling, give an order number like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then they ask you to hold the line while they check.
Right. The hold music.
Exactly. And then hopefully you get the confirmation. Your order has been shipped and should arrive tomorrow.
Knowing that sequence, that structure, can really help reduce anxiety if English isn't your first language, right?
Totally. You know what to expect.
Okay, so we've done transactions. What about just browsing, like in a bookstore?
Ah, yes. The classic just looking scenario.
The universal signal for leave me alone for a bit.
Kind of. But the staff might still offer help, point you towards, say, the local authors section or new releases or maybe
Language learning section.
precisely. And this is where we saw that really vital phrase for learners.
Go on.
It was, sorry, could you speak more slowly, please? I just moved here from France and my English is still improving.
That's gold. Let's break that down.
Well, first, the politeness. Sorry. And could you, please? That softens it.
Mm-hmm.
Then, the key part, explaining why. I just moved here. My English is still improving. That gives context. It builds empathy.
So it's not just asking them to slow down, it's helping them understand why it's helpful.
Exactly. It makes it much more likely they'll actually accommodate you, which makes your whole experience, smoother. #tag22, the art of dining and food experiences.
All right, we've handled errands. Now let's talk food. Dining out, experiencing local flavors. This is where language meets culture in a big way.
Definitely. Starting with making a reservation seems basic, but there are key bits of info.
Like what? Our sources laid it out pretty clearly.
Right. You need the essentials. Day and time, like this Friday evening, around 7:30 p.m. How many people? For 2 people. Your name, obviously, Olivia Carter.
And mentioning the occasion can be helpful too, like our anniversary dinner.
Yeah, adds a nice touch. But what's interesting is how the conversation went further. They offered options, like a window seat or something more private.
Oh, nice. Proactive service.
And crucially, they asked about dietary restrictions. I am allergic to shellfish, so nothing with shrimp or lobster, please.
That's so important.
Absolutely. And the restaurant confirmed they'd make a note for the chef. That shows real attention to detail, going beyond just taking the booking.
Okay, so you've got the reservation, you're at the table, the food arrives, compliments are always good, right?
Oh, definitely. Our sources had someone saying it was the best spaghetti carbonara I've ever had.
High praise.
And acknowledging it was a chef's special recipe. Very traditional. Plus, praising the whole package. The food, the wine, the atmosphere is just perfect. That kind of feedback is always appreciated.
What about declining something? Like dessert, sometimes you're just too full.
Yeah, there's a polite way to do that. The source showed someone saying, I'd love to, but I'm really full. I think I'll have to skip dessert this time.
The classic soft refusal.
Exactly. You acknowledge the offer, I'd love to, give a reason, I'm really full, then state the decision politely. It's a common politeness strategy in English. Keeps things friendly.
Good tip. And then the end of the meal, asking for the check.
Pretty straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
Could I have the bill, please? And knowing the payment methods helps. The source mentioned Visa, MasterCard, and American Express. Avoids that awkward moment.
Right. Okay, let's switch to something more casual. Buffets.
The joy of the all-you-can-eat. Our sources definitely captured that enthusiasm.
What did they like about it?
So many options in one place. The fact that you don't have to decide on just one thing, and of course you can keep going back for more.
Dangerous territory, especially when eyeing the desserts like that chocolate cake.
Always save room for the chocolate cake.
Wise words. Now, pizza. Another casual favorite. There was a bit of a debate in the sources, wasn't there?
Yeah, the classic margarita versus pepperoni. Margarita was called classic, and it's always delicious.
Safe bet.
Well, pepperoni, someone might worry about spiciness, but it was balanced by the tasty tomato sauce. It just shows how people talk about food, sharing opinions, maybe a little friendly argument.
But then the ultimate NYC recommendation.
Yes. If you want real New York pizza, the source was very specific.
Where was it?
Joe's Pizza on Carmone Street near the West Village.
And how do you know it's the real deal?
The key indicator, a line of hungry New Yorkers wrapping around the block.
In New York, that's the best sign, isn't it?
It really is. And the claim that came with it was pretty bold.
What was it?
It'll ruin all other pizza for you.
Whoa.
Dramatic, I know. But it captures that cultural idea. Everyone in New York does this at least once. Worth it for a slice of heaven. It's more than just pizza. It's an experience, a rite of passage almost.
Okay, we've eaten well. Now it's time to explore. Our sources gave us some great insights into travel and leisure, starting with capturing memories.
Right, like simply asking someone, could you take a picture for us? A universal travel need.
And you can get specific, like right here with the Lincoln Memorial behind us. We want Abe in the shot, too.
Got to get Abe in there.
Yeah.
And I loved the playful negotiation bit.
Oh, yeah.
Where the kid basically bargained for ice cream in exchange for posing for a normal picture.
Classic kid move. It shows that lighthearted side of English, how even simple requests can become a little back and forth.
Exactly. Now, let's talk iconic spots and the gap between the dream and, well, reality sometimes. Venice, for example.
Venice. The dream of canals, bridges, feeling like you're stepping into a painting.
But then, the potential reality of an overpriced tourist trap gondola ride.
Yeah, you hear that a lot.
But, as the source noted, it's often framed as a once-in-a-lifetime moment. Hard to argue with, even if you're hoping your gondolier will burst into song.
Got to manage those expectations. What about Miami?
Miami sounds like paradise, right? Blue ocean, palm trees. Until you pay like $18 for a coconut.
Ouch. $18.
Yep. The source really nailed the reaction. Welcome to Miami, where even water costs like it's mixed with gold.
So true.
You start thinking that coconut better change your life, or at least give you financial advice for that price.
And they offer stock tips?
Exactly. It perfectly shows that clash between the idyllic image and the sometimes painful reality of tourist prices. Leads to that relatable feeling, maybe a hashtag scam in Miami post. We use humor to cope with sticker shock.
Definitely. Okay, another icon, the Empire State Building.
Seeing it up close is impressive, but planning is key. The sources stress buying tickets in advance online.
Why?
To avoid the crazy line at the actual ticket booth. Makes sense.
And the cost?
It was $44 per person, acknowledged as not cheap, but again, framed as that once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Seems to be a theme.
It is. And there was a little joke, too, about the elevator ride isn't scary, referencing King Kong.
Oh.
Pop culture creeping in.
Always does. Now, Alcatraz. Very different vibe.
Yeah, described as strange, maybe even creepy. Imagining being locked up here all alone gives you chills.
How long is the tour?
About 2 hours, including the ferry ride. Good practical info. But the really fascinating stuff was the history.
The escapes.
Exactly. Prisoners digging through vents, making fake heads from soap and paper to trick the guards. Incredible ingenuity.
Wow. That's movie stuff.
Right. But then you get the legends. The haunted aspect.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Talk of a woman in white standing by the windows at night. Spooky.
Do people buy it?
Well, the source quickly connected it to maybe being a marketing strategy and the idea of buying a glow-in-the-dark ghost keychain.
Turning spooky into souvenirs.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And making bets about seeing a ghost. It shows how we kind of blend the mystery with a bit of cynical humor and commercialism.
Makes sense. Okay, let's shift to natural wonders, the Northern Lights.
Bucket list item for many. Best time to go, according to the sources.
September to March. Winter is ideal because of the longer, darker nights.
Right. And visibility. You might see them from the city, but a short drive away is usually better. Less light pollution.
And photography tips, that sounds useful.
Very practical. Use a tripod, keep your hands steady, and don't trust your phone's auto mode.
Good advice. Phones struggle with that.
Yeah, it acknowledges the challenge. You might take 200 blurry pictures to get one good shot, but it's worth it.
I bet. What about the Grand Canyon? Another jaw-dropper.
Described as totally different, almost overwhelming, like standing in front of a time machine. Makes you feel kind of small.
I can imagine. Any specific recommendations?
Yes, a must-see spot. Hopi Point at sunset. Apparently, it'll take your breath away.
Sounds amazing. Any practical tips for getting there?
Yeah, it's about a 20-minute walk, and crucially, bring water. This heat sneaks up on you. Essential advice for that environment.
Very important. Okay, beyond sightseeing, what about arts and social stuff?
Our sources touched on an art fair. Buying a print. You learn how to ask, how much is it? €45 unframed in this case.
And
by card reader. They also mentioned getting it in a protective sleeve and finding the artist online store, Instagram, for updates. Shows how quickly things move from physical to digital connection.
True. And finally, a social invitation.
Yeah. Common scenario. An invite to a big outdoor music festival in the park. Lots of bands.
Sounds fun. Did they go?
No, they had plans for next weekend. But notice how they handled it. Declined politely, but immediately suggested another concert sometime.
Keeping the connection open.
Exactly. It's about maintaining that social tie, even when you have to say no to a specific event.
So underpinning all of this errands, dining, travel is the human connection, building rapport.
Absolutely. It's the foundation. And our sources showed some simple but key examples like basic introductions.
Asking names. What's your name? And crucially, how do you spell that?
Yeah, acknowledging that some names, like Caitlin in the example, might need clarification, unlike maybe John. That little act of checking the spelling shows you care, you're paying attention.
It avoids awkwardness later, too. Just asking, sorry, I just wanted to make sure I got it right. Builds that connection.
Definitely. And asking where someone's from. Where are you from? California, New York. It's a universal opener, right? Finding common ground, showing interest.
Simple, but effective.
And throughout all these dialogues, you see those little friendly exchanges. Encouragement, shared feelings.
Like, tell me about it, or me too.
Exactly. Those phrases build empathy, show you're on the same page. It's not just about exchanging information. It's about that shared understanding that makes conversation flow.
And all this really points to a bigger message for anyone learning English or just navigating new situations, doesn't it?
It really does. The sources kind of subtly reinforce it. You got this. Keep going.
Yeah, that feeling that soon enough you'll speak with confidence that turns heads.
It's about building that courage, knowing that every interaction, even a small one, is progress. It's more than just learning words. It's about daring to connect. Hashtag tag tag outro. So there you have it. We've gone from a restroom key on a wooden spoon. Quite the journey.
To the legend of Joe's Pizza, navigating travel costs, tricky photo requests. It's amazing how much practical language and, cultural insight is packed into these everyday chats.
It really is. And hopefully this deep dive helps you see not just what was said, but why it matters in context, how understanding these nuances prepares you for your own interactions.
Yeah, turning those everyday moments into real learning opportunities, giving you that confidence.
Exactly. Empowering you with those insights.
So as you go about your day, here's something to think about, a final thought for you. What everyday conversation might you overhear today that, if you just thought about it a little deeper, could unlock a completely new insight about the world around you?